Good morning, everybody. Garrett with Competition Suspension for our second installment of the Monday Morning Quarterback. This is going to be a weekly question and answer we're going to do on the Facebook page. Give customers an opportunity to have some question answered from the weekend previous or something that they want to work on for the coming up races. This will be your outlet to ask us directly what those questions and get some answers. So you can do it one of two ways. If you can't tune in live to our current time slot, which we may adjust as time goes on if this doesn't work for everybody. But if you can't be on live, you're at work, school, whatever, just simply email those questions in, Garrett, Garrett at csishocks.com, and I'll go over those questions. And we're going to post these live, so they'll be here for people to look at after work, and they'll be on our Facebook page. So we'll give everybody a second to tune in and talk a little bit about what we had going on last week and what we are working on in the weeks coming up. Last week I was out west for the World of Outlaw and USAC show at Las Vegas, working with some new wing customers as we're trying to develop that program, as well as the ongoing development with our non-wing stuff. So good trip out there. Justin Grant swept both events with our product. Second night we had first through sixth place, so our non-wing program is solid for sure, and we're continuing to refine our wing program. We're getting better each week. We've focused a lot at the end of 2017 on some new products that we released for the wing market. We'll talk about those a little bit later as some of the questions that were emailed in relate to those. But Hunter Schoenberg had fast time in the second flight on night 2, and Parker Price Miller was second quick in the first flight. So we only had about 5 wing guys out there, but 3 of them made the feature each night, and we're continuing to fine-tune and figure out what those cars are needing and helping our customers. So flew back from Vegas on Saturday, drove straight down to Nashville for a quarter midget test with some customers as we're trying to get setups honed in for the Dixie Shootout Midwest Thunder race down there, which is our first big regional in the Midwest in a couple weeks. So if you have questions pertaining to Nashville, shoot me an email and I can get you some setup information and some things we learned during that test. This weekend we're off to DeCoin, indoor midget and micro race, again to help customers and continue to refine our products. So kind of a common theme with us. Every weekend we're going somewhere. We hit about 80 events between our team here trying to help our customers. So as people are getting tuned in here, one thing I just want to bring to everyone's attention that's happened a few times here recently: if you're sending shocks in for service, tuning, dynoing, whatever, please put your contact information in the box. It becomes especially difficult when we get a bunch of customers sending stuff in this time of year, and it might come from a UPS store, and we can't track down whose shocks they are, and then that kind of just delays the process. So at least your name and contact info in the box. If you want to do it electronically, you can log into our website, and there's a tab there, a service form tab in red about 3/4 of the way down on the home page, and you can do that. Send it in. We know they're coming. Print that page, put it in the box, and you don't even have to write anything out. So we'll move into some of the questions we had today. If you didn't get your question in and you're tuned in live, just comment with a question, and we'll try to answer everybody's questions as we move through this here. So one of the first questions that came in, Todd, we will be coming to California this year. We haven't totally locked down our 2018 calendar, but traditionally California Micro Week, we'll be out there for that more than likely, and then Oval Nationals at the end of the year. We usually do that to help our USAC customers, and so there might be an additional, but usually we make a couple trips to California per year. So thanks for the question. So one of the questions that come in was bump rubbers pertaining to wing sprint cars. That technology has changed substantially the past 12 months or so, and we came out with a new kit at PRI. That's a half kit. Kind of what are we trying to achieve with the bump rubber? and the main differences between these two kits. So two things that you're trying to achieve with the bump rubber on a wing sprint car. One, minimize left rear shock travel. So we're able to slow down the travel on the left rear and keep the left rear from traveling so far that it either one, drags the bump rubber, drags the frame rail, or two, travels so far on the left rear that it gets the right rear kind of out of the racetrack and skates the right rear. So those are the main things with the bump rubber. We're trying to minimize left rear travel and then also increase drive. So as we minimize the travel and the car starts to squeeze into that bump rubber, we're also loading that tire and picking up drive. So a lot of that with anything with shocks is timing. What that gap is very critical, and how we adjust that gap throughout the night. So any shock bump rubber kit we sell will come with a 2-page instruction sheet. This is for our new set. So it has the graph of what, depending on the combination durometer you have, what the eventual rate is, as well as an instruction sheet. That sheet will tell you a couple things. Tell you what the bump rubber gap we're looking for a given racetrack and type of race car, and then how we adjust that gap throughout the night. So traditionally, on a wing sprint car, we're going to tighten that gap up as the night goes on. And the main reason for that is, early in the night when you're timing in or you're in a heat race, the track's generally faster, so you got more wing speed, and the car's going to travel down on the left a fair bit easier. And then as the night goes on and we lose wing speed and we get in dirty air, we want to load that bump rubber about the same amount. So the car's traditionally not going to travel as far on the left rear, but we want to make sure we're engaging that bump rubber the same amount and still getting the same amount of drive we were earlier in the night. So the traditional bump rubber we usually run in a cup. That's a foam rubber. It generates a fairly linear rate. And the reason we run that in a cup is outside of the cup, when you squish that bump rubber, most of the stored energy goes out and it doesn't apply load to the tire. So we keep it contained in that cup, and it's a more consistent rate that way, and it applies the load we're looking for to the tire. With the new style kit, this kit, we don't run it in a cup. It's not designed to run in a cup. One of the benefits to the cup is it kind of contains what you're doing. We have a bag that goes around this kit if you're wanting to keep it from the competition. But that kit is a much more soft and progressive rate, and has worked very, very well. That kit works especially well in conjunction with running it on the right rear in a wing car. So we're able to hold the attitude in the car that we're looking for by compressing a bump rubber both on the right rear and the left rear. So the gaps are different, and the actual rate is different, but that's all detailed on that sheet. So that's a program that we're continuing to work on and refine moving forward as we progress through the season and we just get more laps and more time. So one of the benefits of this video is we'll be able to update you kind of live each week as we've tested and been to different racetracks and what's working, and give you an actual, hey, we're running a 2 3/4 gap with 2 yellows and a purple on wing 360s. And so we'll be able to give you more of that detailed information as we kind of progress through this. So this whole video that we're going to do each week is meant just as an informative update you on what's going on at CSI, any new technical information that we have pertaining to our products, and then just answer questions that you guys have from the previous weekend or something looking forward. Another emailed question I have is, how often should I check the gas pressure on my shocks? Great question, and the answer to that is before every race day. So if you typically race on Fridays, I would just, when you get to the racetrack and unhook the shocks. You always want to set your gas pressure with them fully extended, and just set them then. It only takes about 5 minutes. You'll want to charge them with nitrogen, so the smallest tank you can get from a welding supply and a regulator is kind of all you need. As long as you turn that bottle off after each use, that'll last you the season. So you always want to set the gas pressure. Our shocks cannot be ran with zero gas. So we run a base valve. most instances you can get really low on pressure, but you'll want to make sure you have some gas in them, otherwise they'll cavitate, aerate the oil, and that's not a good situation. So set them fully extended, set them before each race day, and then you can adjust them from there. So does anybody that's tuned in have any questions before I get to another email question? No questions so far. All right. As we get going through the season and all you guys are racing on a weekly basis, I'm sure more questions will pop up. But we'll just continue. I have one more email question here, and that is, again, pertaining to gas pressure. Why do I need to check them fully extended? So why you need to check them fully extended is there's a divider piston that sits in the main chamber there, okay? And so with that divider piston, if the shock is compressed on the car, it will not be at its, what we'll call home position up against the base valve. It'll be in the chamber some. So theoretically, the volume has changed and now your gas pressure is increased. So if you always check them fully extended, unhook them from the top or the bottom, pull the shock all the way apart, at the full extension, that separator piston that keeps the nitrogen and oil separate is all the way at the home position. Set them there. You're checking it at a constant at all the time, at all times, and that's just what we recommend. You can set them on the car, but if your ride height's different from week to week, that divider piston's in a different spot, you don't know exactly how much gas pressure you're putting in. So if you always set them fully extended, you'll know where you're at. And again, to answer the other guy's question, you should do that before each race day. It only takes about 5 minutes, and it's a vital part to the performance of your shocks. So, does anybody else have any questions? No other questions at this point. Okay. How do I know what gas pressure to start with, Todd? So typically we'll give you a sheet that'll tell you what you should start with, what it should be if it's a heavy rough track, and what it should be if it's a slick track. Todd, what kind of race car do you have? And I will answer that question specifically. Otherwise, you can email me, and we can get you that specific information. Because it varies whether you got a micro or a sprint car, wing, non-wing. We'll run different pressures. It's a good tuning tool. While we're waiting to see if Todd will answer, we just got a Snapchat. We're trying to step into the 21st century, and so follow us on Snapchat, just CSI Shocks. Give you a behind-the-scenes look at what kind of goes on here on a daily basis. Follow me through my daily activities, and just give you a good idea what we got cooking here at CSI. Another way to stay plugged in as we're trying to increase our customer interaction in 2018 and give you added value with your shock purchase. So Todd has a Wing 360. So Wing 360, typically we will start with 25 pounds down the left and 40 down the right. And if the track's heavy and rough, we'll probably be more in the 60 range on the right rear. And then as it slicks off, we'll decrease gas pressure across the rear and potentially in the left front. Tim, are you guys using bump stops in the quarter midgets? Tim, yes we are. So we have a traditional kit that we've had for 2 or 3 years. It's a foam kit, and that's been a good kit for us. As more and more of the national races have went to parking lots, those parking lots are abrasive, they're rough, a lot of them are off camber. We've seen added benefit of being able to run a really soft spring package to get through the bumps and make the cars handle better. What happens when you go with a real soft spring package? Sometimes you'll get to the point where you lose grip, so you don't have enough spring rate to load the tire. So we started to develop a kit last year with a poly puck system. It's very similar to this kit, a little bit different shape, obviously smaller for the quarter midgets, but it works really well. So we run an extremely soft spring package down the right side on the parking lots in conjunction with those new bump rubbers. It allows us to get through the bumps better and travel across those uneven surfaces, but we're getting increased grip, which you're always looking for grip in parking lot racing. So that new kit is on our website, and that works really, really well in the parking lots. Again, it comes with an instruction sheet and kind of details how much you need to decrease your spring rate in order to run those. So we'll continue to update you guys on that. We haven't got to do a lot of testing with those at high bank tracks and dirt tracks, and we definitely have that on our agenda here in the spring as soon as the weather gets good. So if nobody else has any questions, we'll sign off for this week. Again, we're going to do this every week, so go ahead and email us your questions, Garrett@csishocks.com. We'll be sure to answer those and post this video so you can go back to it for future reference. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. Have a great week, and we look forward to bringing you more technical support and information in the weeks to come. Take care, everybody.